How do you feel about your parents' divorce? Do you harbor any resentments?
No,
How do you feel about your own divorce? How do you feel about your own divorce?
I don't know. It is what it is.
How do you feel about the sci-fi genre, and what characters do you like from that genre?
I have never done anything in the sci-fi realm, which is funny because I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi books, I love sci-fi movies, and so getting a chance to be a part of something like that immediately piqued my interest once I read the synopsis and what all the characters were about. But in terms of sci-fi pieces that I love, I mean, obviously, who doesn't love Star Trek? Who doesn't love Star Wars?
I have never seen Star Trek. My knowledge of Star Wars is like very limited.
Also, you gotta love Alien, Sigourney Weaver, come on.
Yeah.
Prometheus, all those ones. And so it's like the list is endless, but it's really, really neat to be able to be a part of one now.
It seems that sci-fi, more than any other genre, kind of brings forth strong female complex characters ahead of so many of the other genres. You mentioned Sigourney Weaver and Alien. You mentioned Star Wars. You have Princess Leia. You have Uhura on Star Trek. So talk a little bit about that and strong female complex characters, and how you feel about that.
Definitely. I feel like it needs to be something in every single genre. It doesn't need to be just specific to sci-fi, but we do have a lot of those in the sci-fi realm, which I think is wonderful. And not sure why it's always the sci-fi end of the world type movies. I think maybe just due to the circumstances, the life or death situations, these women, they become and have to become these strong women in order to survive and make it in these crazy worlds. But I do think it's something that should branch out not just from the sci-fi but into other ones
Absolutely.
as well, which I think we're seeing that a lot more with some of the upcoming films, which is great.
Yeah.
I know what I was doing. What's the big deal?
The deal is this: it's illegal to deploy a Nortox cocktail. It's strictly forbidden. Paragraph 18, acceptable countermeasures.
There are so many freaking rules and lists of what you can and can't do here.
So originally this role was meant for a man, and it went to you, and a large part of that is because of your performance during the auditions, and it was because of your ability to be so cool, calm, and collected, and you were able to do it without this like bravado or ego, and I think that really lended so well to the part. We hadn't seen that, we hadn't intended for that, and when you were auditioning, we were like, oh wait, maybe this should change. What do you think of that as an element of this movie, and how it was able to organically evolve into something else?
Yeah, I think it's um living through it was definitely interesting because I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then, when I got the call from Chris saying that you guys were choosing to go in a different direction, I was obviously thrilled. But I feel like it becoming more of a female driven story, it actually, I feel like it makes the character stronger and, brings out their personalities more. And it doesn't, you know, become a cliche,
Right.
rescue the damsel in distress type of situation. And it's these two strong women who are forced to figure out what to do and, what moves to make in order to make it out. And
Yeah.
you definitely see the strong female characters in this film, that's for sure.
So tell me the types of things that you did to help prepare for this role, if anything.
A lot of it actually was with the help of Chris, writer and director Chris Mays. There was a lot of communication and a lot of questions on my part, just about like who Sandra, is and who she was, because with the story changing and it not being about Jim, the main character anymore, and it being this new character who, you know, figuring out her story kind of as we went along. And so for preparation, a lot of it was just really getting to the bottom of who she is and what her goals are and what's held her back. And Chris was a huge help with figuring all of that out. So
I understand that you were called back for some reshoots as the story kind of unfolded being shot. We saw that there needed to go in various other directions and we needed to add in some other elements to the movie. What was that experience like, having gone through what you thought was the full shoot and then now we have to come back and kind of work on some things a little bit?
definitely, it was a good experience. I felt like the reshoots and the rewrites that happened, I really feel like they, improved the story and changed Sandra's arc. And you get to see her at a deeper level with the reshoots that happened. And I think that's great. Because I think from the beginning of shooting and the beginning of when we did the first read through, both Phoebe and Sandra end up being very different characters than they were originally. And I really like seeing them grow, and the whole rewriting process allowed us to showcase who they are. So it was a good experience. And I do feel like in the long run, it's made the film really great.
What was the craziest proper situation you had to deal with during filming? Was there anything like you bumped your head on, or like anything that was always falling over, anything silly like that?
I don't know about me bonking my head. I know our director bonked his head every day, poor guy. There were some props that had some lower ceilings that we definitely hit our heads a few times. I think for me, the most difficult prop or wardrobe was the helmet that Sandra wears towards the end. And we did some of that with the reshoots. I didn't realize I was borderline claustrophobic until this helmet, because it was really interesting, which it looked so cool, but having it on, so you had the visor come down, but inside we had these blue lights, which lit up my face, and it looked really cool on camera, but in person you couldn't see. And with it being warm inside, I was like, I can't see, I don't know where I'm going. I'm flipping a switch and I can't see what I'm doing, but it looked so good. So it was definitely worth it.
So good.